Hi, I'm Robert Frater, fifth generation winemaker and owner of Frater Family Wines. My family arrived here in the late 1800s from Scotland, and we started making wine here about 110 years ago. I've been on my own here on the farm for about 15 years, and I replanted all the vineyards, and I make a modern style of fruity wines with minerality, New World wine. And today we're going to start in the vineyards. So my first premise is that pretty vines make pretty wines. So behind me I have the pinotage block that I make my Oupa Bull pinotage from. So you will see in this vineyard we have a row that's been sown with oats, and then in the next row we have a working row. So we allow the weeds and everything to come up here, and then when we start pruning we throw all the shoots in the working row, and then it all gets worked into the ground. On the bunkies, or in the rows, in the working row, I throw organic material which is used for mulching, which obviously helps build up your biomass. Further, we try and use a sort of minimal intervention in the vineyard, and we really try and keep it simple and do the minimum, and that goes straight through to the cellar, where we also try and do as a sort of minimalist approach. Our farm is situated in southern Paarl on the banks of the Berg River, and then just behind me you can see the Tall Monument up there on the mountain, and in front of it I have my block of Chardonnay that I use to make my Eulalia Chardonnay. And then looking this way we have these mountains over here. In the evening when they turn red, led to the name Rodeberg that the KWV uses for one of their premium brands. Okay, so now our vines are enjoying a well-deserved rest after another hard, hot summer. It was a fairly late season, but as you can see here now they're busy resting up, and when enough cold units in the winter have been accumulated, hopefully we have a fairly cold winter. It's looking good so far. Lots of rain and cold weather. We've recently had some snow. Then that coldness breaks dormancy in the spring, and that gives you a nice even bud break, and then we take it from there. Okay, so now we in the old cellar, and this is where we age all our red wines. And to my right we have some of our barrels that we're just prepping for filling now. So we will probably fill it at the end of this week, and then we put the wines to bed for the winter, and then let nature take its course. And it's nice and cold in the winter. I think your average temperature of your wine is about 12 degrees. And then in the spring we take them out of the barrels, and then we clean the barrels and we put them back in the barrels. And so we start the slower process of cleaning up the wines before bottling next year after about 12 months. These barrels are destined for our Oupa Bull pinotage, the vineyard where we have just been. And it's all French oak, and it spends about, as I said, about 12 months in the oak. Okay, so here are some of the other barrels that we are prepping for filling, and a component of our blend is going to be Hungarian oak, which brings just another sort of something to a wine. And I've always found it interesting to mix and match different oaks, and some of my wines I make with a triple blend of American, French and Eastern European oak, like this barrel, the Hungarian oak. Okay, and then behind me we have our block of Cabernet that I use in my Bordeaux blend that I call Connor, that's named after my second born son. It's a nice, full, soft wine. I like to make wine with ripe fruit, so even if the alcohols are a little bit higher, it doesn't really bother me. I want a soft, round, full wine. I also employ minimum intervention in the cellar. For example, I still use open fermenters, which have been in use for hundreds of years. And although this is a very labor-intensive process, I feel that the results vindicate the efforts. Okay, so the Zoete Inval is a very historic farm. It is the family farm of the De Preer family. All of them originate from this farm, and their original predecessor, Hercules Despres. My family arrived here in 1878 from Scotland, and this press, for example, was used by my great-grandfather to make red wine. The heritage and pride that we have in our family is exemplified in our saying for our wines, pride of place. Alright, so these are the three wines that we are presenting tonight. The first one is the SMG, Shiraz Mourvedre Grenache. So that's 55% Shiraz, 25% Mourvedre and 20% Grenache. Rhone varietals do very well in hot climates like Paarl. It gets very hot here in summer. It's cold in winter. Perfect climate for that style of wine. It's accessible, foodie, and drink on its own type of wine. Our second wine is our only white wine, is produced from grapes sourced in the Swartland on my father-in-law's farm, and it's made from 40-year-old dryland bush vines. So it has a lot of character, soul. I call it sort of full tilt Chenin Blanc. So it's barrel fermented, it's a food wine, and it's a wine for people who like a nice, full, serious white wine. And then the last one is one of my flagships. It's called Oupa Bull Pinotage. We've discussed the vineyard and the barrel maturation of this wine. This wine is made and in honor of my grandfather, who was a former mayor of Paarl. So Oupa Bull was my grandfather, and he was a mayor of Paarl in the 50s, and his poker pals gave him the nickname Bull. And he used to whistle as he drove his old Dodge through our town with gay abandon.